The group that I'm in, yes.
Okay, all right. All right. So we need to be aware of both of those age groups before we cut any checks to anybody, correct?
Yep.
All right. All right, unless you're on top of that 19, so we'll know something more, right?
Yeah.
All right. All right. So we have a motion to close the meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Boom. Second executive committee meeting. Approval of minutes. Let's get them up there.
They're up there.
All right, everybody take a look. Someone please make a motion to approve the minutes of the last month's executive committee meeting.
I'll make a motion.
All right, thanks, Alan. Second?
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, unless you see something on there. Well, protest and appeals will all come in this new business. Let's get right into it. We have a couple of things. You want to go through the games first, or letting everybody know what we're wanting them to think about for the upcoming season? All right, let me get that done first. Then we'll wind up with this thing. There are 3 or 4 things we've got. You've got to start forming an opinion on some of these because they're all suggestions. One is the number of games we're playing. We're increasingly finding, like now we've got 40, 50 games that haven't even been finished. We typically used to have 14 game schedule. Now we're down, kind of looking at divisions. Maybe in order to get them all in and not pressure everybody, we go to a 10-game season. I'm not saying we voted it tonight, but an idea is a 10-game season, which will make a 6-team league. Okay, that'll be playing each other twice. That may fit, given the amount of leagues people are playing in, tournaments people are playing in. 10 matches may be enough, and not pressure that we got to make all these makeup games go. So that's the first suggestion, is we go back. I say 10, it could be 12, whatever it is, but we cut back officially, and that will also start to dictate how many teams we have in each division. Okay, that will change that from our 8 to less, to 6. So that's the first thing. We'll do it again at the AGM. The second thing, the outlier clubs. We had some problems this year with referees, and we know our format is, difficult as far as some of the outlier clubs having games that are, orphan games. That's basically what we're doing. And we've got to give some thought to trying to move those games to other fields, or somehow consolidate them. We're gonna, it's just too difficult getting to some of these fields that are 70 miles away and it's one game. And, it's something we've got to come to some way of analyzing that and coming up with a good solution for it, because we're too spread out in many ways, that especially north, not south so much, because we filled that in a little bit. So that's the other thing I want you to keep in mind and start thinking about, as far as how to handle the outlier clubs with 1 or 2 teams that are miles away. 2 scholarships, we got that down. The other things, okay, the other ideas. One is that in order to discourage the 800 or 1,000 games that are rescheduled every year, which is insane, that we institute a policy that within a time period, my guess would be maybe 2 weeks, but it could be anything. Within 2 weeks of a match, if you've got to reschedule, the guy that's asking for the reschedule pays a nominal fee, whatever we decide it'll be. But we make something that is, now that's a pain in the ass for us, because we got to keep track of it and we got to collect it. But we're thinking maybe that will help us slow down just willy-nilly deciding to reschedule. So if it's 25 or 50, whatever it happens to be, but that's the first idea. Now that's not I wouldn't make that a bylaw change. I'd make that a business practice. So we just know ourselves, that's what we're doing. And we'll see what happens. The second thing, and Greg pointed this out this year, although this isn't a big problem, we're thinking about trying to not schedule any club or team that has not paid by the time we start the scheduling. What ends up happening is we schedule everybody and then someone drops. We schedule somebody and someone drops, they don't pay, they don't have enough kids. They were planning on to come and they didn't get the kids. By putting your money in it, we may be more definite as far as what people are doing, and we may not get the stray guys jumping in there and just deciding they'll put their name in the hat and then figure out 5 weeks later whether they really got a team or not. So the second thing would be that we do not schedule anybody that has not paid by the time our scheduling starts. Now, on the negative side of that to think about, there'll be teams that are like us or Cape Coral or, the teams that are PCU, guys are here all the time and their money's good and they're going to pay and they're not abusing the system. But for some reason or another, they're going to miss. And then we're going to need to go, we're going to want to go back instead of dropping them to the third division or fourth division. We're going to want to go back and put them back in, which really is a royal pain in the ass. So this thing may create more problems than it fixes. In the end, we get all of our money, but we do get people dropping out that we got to adjust schedules. And that sucks for everybody because they're figuring, especially if we drop the teams to 6 or 7 or 11 and they play 10 matches, they play each other once, whatever we decide. But if we end up doing that and someone drops, it really, it sucks. So there's good and bad to that, but that may be something we look at because we're getting more and more of that. And we know why. We know what the reason is. So there are two business changes that we're going to suggest this year and see if everybody will start thinking about it now. So they'll come up with, well, let's not do this or let's do that we can, by the time we come to the AGM, we can institute these practices and everybody will have thought about it and come up with better ideas than we got about it to do this. The third thing, I'm going to draft a letter. I've never done this. We've never done it. The president's never done it, but I'm going to draft a letter and it'll be in this month, an email, a blast to everybody. And basically I've always felt that the league, the way we operate speaks for itself. It's the league itself is well run as any league in the state or anywhere. And, people play in the league because they know they're going to get the games in. The games are going to be adjudicated. There'll be not a lot of messy teams in there that will allow. And so they know that the fields will be okay. The business end of it will be perfect. So what's the reason we need to even ask? Everybody knows that. I mean, if they know anything about this, they know this league performs what it does. We're to the point now where we've got, 17 or 15 or whatever it is, different leagues out there. And maybe it's time that we just at least it. Now you can't, in my opinion, you cannot draft a very detailed email. People won't read it. But we stay with our points and instead of knocking everybody else, that we just point out the differences between ourselves and many of the other leagues that are promising them stuff, and also get everybody to understand the more you atomize, the more we spread out into these other leagues, the worse the play gets, the more uneven the play gets inside the league, and probably the further you're going to travel to do that. And we really need to come back to better density in the play and something geographically, because we have a problem geographically. I mean, our league, it's an ass buster. And but when you spread it out any further, let me tell you, it's crazy. So it's with your permission, because I'm doing this in behalf of USA, not me. With your permission, I will draft that and I'll get it out to everybody before we do it. We can't. I just got to limit it, which is very difficult for me to make anything short. So I'll try and get that out within the next 2 or 3 weeks. You can look at it, and then when we get approval, we'll send it out. And it's basically us saying, look, before you start running off to all these leagues, think about this a little bit, because it's the grass is always greener. We understand that. And if you're using the other leagues as a marketing tool, someday that's got to end. Someday the parents are going to get sick and tired of being lied to about all of the things that that we are told are going to happen if you're in these leagues. We know all of it's nonsense. 90% of it's bullshit. But all of us, even you guys who are on our board, teams play in other leagues for a lot of reasons and good, real reasons. You can't hold everybody off and tell them we're playing USA and nothing else. So there are legitimate teams, that aspire to do something. I think it's almost impossible to fight these businesses off that are not telling the truth in these leagues, especially in all this stuff. So FYSA surprises me that they diluted it as much as they did. I think it's very short-sighted of them. But the other leagues, the for-profit leagues, they're just everywhere. They pop up like mushrooms after a rainstorm. And so I want to just direct an email out to get everybody to at least put our points out there and what we feel we've done. We've got a track record. I don't think that matters to an under 12 kid because they don't know, but we'll do it anyway. I think a lot of this stuff doesn't work well. All right. So that's it. That's all coming. I'll get that out to you. And the other things that I talked about tonight, think about and think if it makes any sense to do them and how we're going to do them. Some of these changes in the business practices. All right, new business. Let's get on to these things. I know Mike's got something. We've got a couple other items. Mike, you want to do that now or you want to do it later?
I'll do it. We can get through what we're going to get through.
All right, here we go. 8:54. What do we got here? Sherry, you know the background on most of these, right? Both teams agreed not to play the game on 4-1 for 4-2. Game 1 forfeit, no fine. Winter Haven agreed to pay referees. Then field subsequently closed due to weather. The refs still need to be paid.
Yeah.
I would pay them.
That's a tricky one.
It is, Les, but
The decision to pay the ref was made before the field was closed, so they should get the money.
Yes. Anybody disagree with that? I agree with you, Les. I think that's practical also.
I agree.
Agree.
That game was not gonna be played whether the field was closed or not.
Correct. So that's an okay, pay the refs.
Yes.
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 1790.
Winter
12
Haven.
girls.
Winter Haven's going to pay the rep on that?
Yes.
Well, either that or we do. I don't know what do you suggest?
I believe, and Sherry can back me up on this, I believe the coach agreed to meet the ref at the field and pay the ref.
Okay. Oh, great. Okay.
All right.
All right. 1790, 12 girls.
James
James there. James. Is James the signer on that?
do you know who the referees are for that game?
Were you assigning that one, James?
On that one, okay.
All right. All right, 1790, 12 girls, D2 South, Cape Coral and who was that? SPR.
Pete Riders.
St. Pete Raiders. Notified a few days prior to the game that St. Pete did not have enough players due to spring break. Both teams could not agree on a reschedule. Where was the game to be played? St. Pete Raiders?
I'm pretty sure, looks like Cape Coral.
Kathy, somebody know this is a Cape, who is a home team in this case?
I'm unaware that this has even happened, so I don't know.
Okay.
U12
Sherry?
girls? Is this boys or girls?
Girls. It
Girls,
says,
too.
I'm
what I've
U12
got is
girls.
U12 girls D2 South.
Sherry, you know who is playing, would be playing home in that game?
There are only two teams in U12s. One is mine, but we play D1 USA, and the other under 12 girls team is Premier. They played in a totally different league. They're not with USA. So maybe this
But
is
we're
the
tr-
boys.
We're just trying to find out who was.
Well, it's Cape Coral,
Coral
we
is-
can't even, but Sherry, this is Sherry's words. I think I advise SPR to file a forfeit form and pay the fine. He refused. Why? They're within 2 weeks. Is it because Cape Coral was willing to play? They were not. Correct? The way I see
Sherry?
it, St. Pete's saying, I'm not gonna play. I can't play,
Cape Coral is not in D2.
right?
There's not a D2 U12 girls
Cape
team.
Coral is
guys.
not in D2. I'm looking at the,
Okay, so
the group in
what
and
is
they're not.
1790? What league is it? That's what I'm just reading this. I have no idea myself. Well, let's bypass this, come back to it when we find out what 1790, what match that is and what the teams are. 862, this is Winter Haven, Les. This is you guys, right? And FC Tampa Storm agreed not to play. Forfeit with no fine. I awarded points to Winter Haven. It moves them from 4th to 2nd place. FC Tampa is in last place. How should I handle? So
Paul, I think I spoke to Coach Blake on this. I was on, he told me that Winter Haven is the one who had no players and agreed to either forfeit the game or move the game to a day. Oh, either way, FC Tampa also had very limited players. So
okay, so the forfeit points.
Not
By
familiar,
Winter
I'm
Haven,
not
did-
familiar with the situation, so.
the forfeit points to Winter Haven, I have no problem.
What are the forfeit points? Why would Winter Haven get them if both agreed not to play?
Right.
would
it's
say-
a draw.
Yeah,
A draw, I'm okay with a draw too.
that's what I think. Sherry, that's a draw. Treated as such.
Okay, I don't know if Sherry's still there, but
Okay, well, I'm writing them down and Greg
Okay.
is here.
all right, so
All right,
Yeah.
862.
862 is a draw.
it's a draw.
Okay, 17 girls. Here's an interesting one. 3 teams in contention for first place. Some played 8 games, some played 9 games. My first question is why? Do we only count the first 8? No. See attached email and standings. I don't know how, but you don't arbitrarily cut off the last game. Can you drop your worst game? No. What do we do?
U17.
This is Cape Coral, right? This is Eddie.
Is it? Okay, well, here, my question is why the scheduling, why 8 and 9? Did some team drop out after it started?
Looks as though there's a couple games that weren't played or not reported.
Hmm.
There's only 6 teams in the group.
My understanding is there were only 2 teams that were scheduled 9 games. The rest of the team were only scheduled 8 games.
Huh. Okay, that's a problem to start with. All right,
That's my understanding. So. why
so the
wouldn't
only
we-
reason we care about this or we're looking at it is because the standings may be, first place may be changed by a decision, right? And they'll get, one of those teams is going to get reimbursed for their championship tournament, correct? Am I correct in assuming that?
Correct.
Well, where are we right now? In other words, well, the problem is the team with 9 will, depending on the game you pick, either has a point or doesn't have a point in a game, correct?
Correct. Depending on one of these teams that have the 9 games could bump one of these teams that finished out with their 8 games, but weren't afforded a 9th
Correct.
game
Yeah.
to
Correct.
get that point. That's where it comes to.
And will that necessarily?
I'm looking at the schedule here, and SPR as a game. I guess that's what they're referring to right there below. There's 2 teams from the same club, and they have games against
okay.
each other remaining. And then
Well,
there's North Lakeland with a remaining game. That could
Who are
change
the
the
team-
stand.
Who are the teams that are vying for it? And how many points do they have less if you're on it?
Looking at this, Cyclones as for 16 points, played 8 games. SPR 7 games, 13 points.
Okay. Who else?
SPR have a game against their own team, which would, if they win that game, and they probably would win the game because I can't imagine the other team would want to try to beat them.
Well,
And then
never
they
know.
would be tied on points, and it could be determined by goal difference at that point.
yeah, they would both have the same amount of games the way I see it, though. Where is the?
Would have the
9
same
game?
amount of games. Goal difference would determine, or head to head would determine who wins the group.
So neither one of those teams, as I understand it, have one has 9, the other has 8. That's not the case. Is SPR arguing that they have another game to play?
They
They have to
should.
play their own club team. That's what they're referring to on the
But
bottom.
that'll only give
SPR
them 8.
versus
That'll
SPR.
only give them 8 games. Am I correct?
That's
in
what the
assuming that?
Cyclones have. That's what Cape Coral has, 8.
Right, and SPR right now has 7.
Right, so if SPR plays SPR, then they have 8.
Okay. So what's the issue?
They need to
We
play.
have, we have a second, but they both have 8 games. If they tie in points, we have a secondary way of judging who wins the championship. That is who gets the money. And that
Then-
is
but
goal
then-
differential or whatever.
Well, it
Paul.
would first go head to head.
Okay,
Well, I think the 9-game issue is North Lakeland has 2 remaining games, which would give them 9 games.
how many points do they have?
12.
12 points.
They have 12 points.
So if they won both matches, right? They would have
18.
18 points, correct?
Yeah.
The first
And
game,
they haven't played either one of those matches. We're in April. They haven't played either one that they're short. Am I correct in assuming that?
They're on schedule for March, but there's no scores there.
Well, that's what date are you looking at, North Lakeland? You said there's no
March
score?
12th, they had 2 games, March 12th, March 13th, but there's no score.
I am thinking, was that the weekend it rained? Because I'm thinking I had a weekend at North Lakeland where everything got shut down that weekend. Nothing got played. I don't remember the exact date on that.
So how many games does North Lakeland have in right now, Les?
They have remaining
They've got 7 games in.
7 games played, 2 plus 2 games remaining without scores. The game should
Right.
have been played, but there's
Okay,
no score.
so they don't have any more to play. We just don't know the scores, although they may not play them, right?
Well, I know according to, if I remember correctly, last time I looked in game of Got Sports, North Lakeland had no games listed in the schedule to be scheduled
All right, okay.
as of this
Oh.
past week.
But on that U17 girls Cyclones, even though when you're looking at the table, they're sitting at the bottom with 16 points. The Cyclone girls are sitting with 16 points,
Yeah, they're done.
playing 8 games.
And SPR, one of the SPRs has 13 points and a game to play. So if they won it, Mike, they'd have 16 points also. The question is North Lakeland now.
Yeah, because Eddie is saying that St. Pete team has their 9th game sitting on December 25th. And United has 8th and 9th games in April.
We don't see that on our schedule, though, do we?
No, we don't.
All right. I don't know what to
I
do.
didn't check with Coach. That's very rare. He does all of our scheduling for our tournaments, and I can't conceivably sit here and think that he told me that this is division. A number of teams have 8 games, and there's 2 clubs that have 9, has the opportunity to play 9 games. So I'll get with him and have a breakdown. I don't have his email in front of me. I just got back from Auburndale myself. But
How about this, though? We'll have this, we can't really decide this because we don't have enough information. However, if we're to the point where both SPR and North Lakeland have not played 9 matches, let's get them to play 8 and see where we stand.
that would fix it. That would be the fairest thing. for
Well,
everybody.
I don't know if that's fair. They won't think it's fair, I'll tell you that. Because they're gonna
Well-
say, I got 2 teams that can beat them both. Well,
Well, if North Lakeland plays 8 game, they still can't win the group even if they win the game.
okay, so more to the point, they're not relevant for the moment, correct?
They play
But
8
I think in
games.
Coach Eddie's email, there was a club that was relevant.
Okay,
If they got that 9th game in, that's the whole purpose he brought it to Sherry's attention.
okay, so but we don't have it in our, we do not have it in our results then.
Okay, so I'll get with him and ask him specifically what
Okay.
he was referring to. I know he sent an email. I don't have it.
Yeah, and he probably has a much better idea, but the point is if they haven't played the 9th game, now, just for grins, let's say they have played 9, right? And they won both of them, right? They got 18 points. What do we do then?
Okay, FYI, guys, I just
Yeah.
checked my schedule
Yeah,
for North Lakeland. And North Lakeland did play that weekend. I know the center on who did that games, who did the centers for both those games. And I'll see if he submitted the scores on it. I don't know if it's gonna matter anything, but I'll follow up on that tomorrow and get
oh,
those taken care of for you.
but James, it would matter. In other words, if they won both those matches, they would have 18 points.
Right.
Okay.
Not 9 games,
Okay, well, I
18
will
points.
I will contact that center tomorrow and get those scores and get them to Sherry or have him get them put in the system. Okay?
Hey, Sherry? Sherry, you there?
I'm here.
All right. I'm gonna ask a stupid question. We got 6 teams in this division. Okay,
Right.
why didn't we have a 10-game schedule, home and away?
We probably did originally,
Okay, well,
but then everybody changes it 49 times.
well,
Well, what-
okay, if so, if it was originally scheduled home and away, we're missing quite a few games here. I'm looking at
So
1,
they should have 10 games. They should have played 10 games.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 games not reported or played.
Well, Cape Coral, we don't know. Cape Coral's got 8 in. What happened to the other 2?
I,
You know, they got 2 games against Plant City and Sporting that have got no results.
correct.
No results or no game played?
No results. There's no
No
results on
results.
the schedule.
Okay. Well, let's go further. We're only doing this to see who gets the money. We can have it, we can still work this week and find out all these unknown things that we
Yeah.
can't know tonight, because it's not going to affect the play. It will only affect where a check goes. Am I
Yeah.
correct in
Right.
assuming that?
Correct. Correct.
All right, so let's straighten this out this week and see exactly what we end up with, and then we'll email out to everybody and see what they want to do. Agreed? We really don't have enough information to even go to do any more on this. But
You
I,
gotta get all the scores in before you can tell.
well,
what's-
and the question about where the 10 games go, you know? Well, why aren't all of them at 10 games? Well, they could have dropped out. There's 20 reasons. But there might be forfeits in there that we don't, if Cape Coral's only got 8, they may have 2 forfeits that we don't know about, which will be another 6 points. So we've got to run down what the original amount of games was and then find out why they only played 8, why they only played 8 so far, and why they've only played 9. Or 10, see, they've got not only 9 games in. So that's the first question. There's got to be games out there that somebody didn't play. Are they double forfeits, or are they?
Or nothing got reported.
Okay, so let's find that out. That's all we're looking for. It's just a little investigation to see who gets the check. And if we're still muddled up afterwards, we'll have the information. We'll send it to everybody and they can email in and decide.
Well, I will have the game score information from March 12th and 13th by tomorrow for sure.
All right. Thanks, James.
And I will email everybody on that.
But that's North Lakeland, James. Just take a look at the schedule. Why is North Lakeland not playing 10 games? Where is that other match? And that's the other thing to try and figure out here, right? Where are the other matches? The 2 for Cape Coral, the 2 for St. Pete Raiders, and at least 1 for North Lakeland. Where were those matches? Are they not played? Were they played? Were they
scheduled? That's what I want to know. I mean.
Well,
looking
I
at the
think as the schedule changes, Kathy, here's the problem. We don't have a screenshot of the original schedule.
I see.
Yeah,
As it changes, whatever the history was changes with it. So we need to take a look. We need to take a look back and find out who didn't play who twice.
Okay, because the original email that I have at work, I don't have it in front of me again, basically said that was a schedule error on USA's part, that this grouping, 4 teams got 8 games scheduled, 2 teams got 9 teams scheduled. That's what the email from Eddie had said.
Okay,
So Eddie
there's
may
got,
be
but
very
that,
well incorrect.
yeah, that
Eddie could be
doesn't,
incorrect.
that's it would be irrational on our parts. There's something more to it. Because we would never, Sherry has been doing this so, I mean, if she's got, what do we got, 7 teams in the league? How many teams, active teams in the league? 7? 6. All right. So we should have 5, one match home, 1 match away. So let's run them down and see exactly who didn't play who.
Gotcha.
Home and away.
I'll let him know. Yeah.
Yeah. Because the original schedule wouldn't have looked like that.
Well, we had the games back now since we have 4 weeks.
Well, let's see what happened first, Les, then we'll go back and see what we can do about it, you know. But something's not kosher here,
Okay. I'll get
because
with
we
him.
wouldn't have started when it would be unlikely that we would have a league with 6 teams, which is a good amount. They play twice, and we only have 8 scheduled and 9 scheduled. So there's a real question mark about the starting the play. There's got to be something else we're missing, information we're missing. Either somebody dropped.
Well, is it
maybe.
possible? Is it possible that moving forward, that when the schedules are completed and locked, that a copy can be made of schedules?
Yeah,
you know, and
that's a good idea, James. We
we
take a screenshot and put it in a folder.
There you go.
Yeah, so when I'm looking at the schedule now for the girls, if you go to Lakeland, they've got 9 games scheduled, and you go to Cape Coral, they've got 8 games scheduled.
Yes, but Mike, who are they missing to have those? In other words, who is Lakeland not playing either home or away? Can you see that? See, they should have 2 matches against everybody in the league.
Yeah.
Who are
Well,
they
that-
missing?
that would be the same for,
Well, let's just
Okay,
even
fine.
North Lakeland. Who are they missing?
St. Pete
Who-
Raiders, Sporting and Plant City.
Say that again, Greg?
St. Pete Raiders, Wesley Sporting Tampa, and Plant City are the three that North Lakeland is missing.
But two of them, we know there's probably a result. The other one, we're saying, what happened to it?
Okay, guys,
Yes,
Greg.
Yeah.
On March 12th, North Lakeland was supposed to play Plant City. And on March 13th, they was to play
40.
Tampa.
Sporting.
so we're missing one St. Pete Raiders team has not played them yet, twice.
I don't have the 13th on this schedule here that I'm looking at.
All right.
Oh, no, I do got the 12th and 13th.
Lakeland has played St. Pete Raiders twice.
There's two St. Pete Raiders teams, Mike, so they should have 4 matches in there with St. Pete Raiders. Right?
Right.
Greg,
Oh,
you
that's
want the
right,
game
yeah.
numbers?
Hold on.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Hold on. Let me get to the schedule. You're looking at the 12th and 13th?
Okay, looking on the 12th, the game number was 131.
Yeah, I got that. There's no score for that one.
Okay, on the 13th, the game number was 152.
No score for that one either.
Okay, I've already contacted the center because it was a center on both those games
All right.
and to try to get those scores. So I'm working on that now.
But
All right.
even more to the point right now, Cape Coral is missing 2 matches. Who didn't they play twice? And why?
I'll tell you who they're missing. They're missing, hold on.
I think it was in Eddie's email.
The two they're missing are Plant City and Sporting.
Okay.
That's who they're missing. They only got one game there where they beat them 1-0 and 4-2. And
Were they forfeits? Why weren't they played? Because they say they weren't scheduled?
Go back to the schedule. Well, I don't know when they were played. That's the problem. Let's see here. Hold on. Okay.
Well, there'd be a hole in the results.
Cyclones. There's Cyclones 1-0.
They've played the St. Pete Raiders, the St. Pete team, all the 2 teams twice each.
Right, but they're missing
someone.
They're missing Sporting twice for 1 game, and they're missing Plant City for 1 game. Were those matches not scheduled, or were they forfeits?
They must have been. They must have been moved because I don't see them on the schedule.
They played Sporting in September, Cyclones.
Home or away?
They played them at home.
Okay, so they should have had a away game with them also.
Right. Cyclone beat Sporting
That
1-0 in September.
Yeah, there's no away game for Sporting.
Right. There should be.
All right, so we know we're getting somewhere right now, but we don't have the answers. Let's let this go, and then we'll run this down, and we're running it down only to see who gets a check. All right? We all right with that? We'll spend the next week and we'll have the answer by next weekend. Okay, number 215, 1819 South, forfeit by San Carlos. Is that the one where the guy abandoned the match? Greg? Or Sherry, do you know about this one?
I'm sorry, tell me.
215.
215.
I know.
I have to go
Sorry.
back to my emails.
San Carlos abandoned a match. Didn't they abandon one match? And then what we were having up here somewhere?
It was against Minnesota.
Okay.
That was it, wasn't it, Sherry? Where the
I
guy
know.
walked up. He walked off about 10 minutes in the second half.
I don't recall that, but you might be right. Trying to full
All
screen
right.
here.
Hold on.
So 4 foot. No, let me look at my notes on this one. I think this one was, they just said they weren't going to play and I was just asking, are we finding them?
Yes, if they just weren't playing, let's find them.
Yeah, that's all this was.
Okay. Well, U11 boys Players Club, same thing.
two-
Sherry?
Same thing.
Hold on.
Okay, yes,
hold on.
find them.
215, who's getting the fine?
San
San
Carlos,
Carlos. San
Okay.
Carlos.
3610 Players Club gets the fine.
Correct.
Yes.
1076 Minnesota gets the fine.
Yeah, that's all those were.
Okay. U14, D3 South. County cannot play the game. They lost the coach. Well, something happened to him. I mean, forfeit, allow reschedule. Fine.
Yeah, this one was just the team. I guess the coach went out of state, so a new coach had picked it up. Didn't have enough players. Was asking if he could reschedule. But I mean, we're getting a little late too for all this, but
Well, the other thing is the other team would have had to agree to reschedule, did they?
right,
Do we know?
right. And I don't believe that they necessarily did. I think it was just kind of pending at this point. They were
Well,
waiting.
They probably, my guess is we will say, hey, I want to reschedule it. If they do, we've got some time to reschedule it. If not, someone loses the game, probably Lee County, right?
Mhm.
The other team's
So-
got to say, hey, I'm going along with you here. I got you. We'll reschedule it.
Okay, so if they're willing, then we'll allow it.
Yeah, I would. What do you guys
Okay.
think?
Yes.
Yeah, we're trying to get games in. You know, this is a little unusual, but it's only one.
All right, so what are we doing with 3574?
We're really waiting to see if they reschedule it, Greg.
If not, who gets the fine?
Lee
Then it
County.
would be Lee County.
Okay,
Yeah, we'll figure that out when we're there. All right. Mike, you want to go next before we run out of time?
All right, yeah, so just, and it shouldn't be long, guys. One, on the, because of all these other leagues that are in town, I really want to make a motion that we allocate some funds to setting up to revamping the website to make it more dynamic, more attractive, and more present to our members. Today's world is all about these social media stuff, and I think that if we don't get on board with it, we need to we're going to be left behind. So
Yes.
I do want to make a motion that and I don't know what the number is, but that we allocate some funds to redoing our website and social media.
Well, social media, we discussed 2 things ago. Sherry had the only person we know of right now that she was going to reach out and contact. And we'll just, Sherry, you had somebody in mind that might.
I do
handle
have
our
somebody
social
in
media.
mind, and
Okay.
she was interested, but that was her first question. What specifically do we want? And
Right.
then, what is our budget and that type of thing, because for her to be able to give a quote, we have to give her some guidance on what we're looking for.
Sure.
Like the website revamp, that's probably a separate number. You can pay someone to do that one time and they can teach us how to keep it up to date. The social media is more of an ongoing thing,
Yeah, and just so everybody remembers, Kai was doing this way back when. And the end of it was, if you don't provide me with input, I'm not going to be able to come up with something every day or every week or every month. So what we were finding is he wasn't getting information from anybody about anything. And that was one of the downfalls of even though you want to do it, everybody's got to come up and feed the system.
Yeah.
so that person can put it on Facebook, but they gotta have something to put on. And Kai, if I'm not mistaken, Kai's thing to me was, I'm not getting any information. So if without information, I can't really put anything on there every week or day or whatever, because I can't make something up. There are other things to put on there, but he's saying from us. So basically the clubs weren't feeding them the relevant stuff in a consistent method. So we got to think about that when someone says, what do you want to do? On the other side, we don't have a compulsive, we can't compel people, our members, to communicate with our social media people.
Yeah, I have been pretty much positively surprised with what the DPL does with their social media. They are
Sensational.
incredibly active. They have a website that is great to look at, very clear in the whole order, and they have a Facebook dynamic that allows you to constantly be on the look for things. So if we say Sherry wants to take a look at that, or Greg, but I would take a look at what DPL does.
And let me ask you something. When you're looking at it, is it specific to our area, or is there information from all over the country?
No, they have information specific to the league, and of course it catches what is necessary for our area. But they do, for instance, it's only a girls' league, but it's an only girls' league. That's what I wanted to say. But they have this things where they have players of the week, players of the month, goal of the week, goal of the month, and they are fed by the clubs, I guess. And they do have also one advantage is that compared to us, is that there is every game has to be videotaped. So we would be asking the members to provide us with things. But I think that when you have that additional motivation that your kid could be the one that shows up in the website or in the Facebook page, parents will definitely jump into it and start sending things in. Because I tell you, if you have people sending pictures for the guy of the weather on Fox 13, they're gonna send it for their kid going to be portrayed for a week in a social media.
Yeah, I agree with you, Juan. I think that the DPL is a good example of how we want to go have a look at. I mean, there's other leagues as well, but DPL does a very good job at it.
But Sherry and Greg, do you have the site?
We can. I will send it to them.
Site?
Yeah, send me the link, please.
We will.
And send that link to the girl and say, here's something or to the, I don't know, it's a girl, to the person who's doing it, and say, here is the idea we have to do that. And at least we get the ball rolling. She'll say, well, who's going to feed me this information? Where am I going to find the information? I can post it, but I don't know anything about soccer. I'm a social media person. So it's really, somebody's going to have to write this up, or at least get it in terms that we can understand.
Well, yeah, when she looks at what DPL, she'll get an idea of whether she can handle that or whether she cannot handle
I got you. Yeah, very good. That's a good start, though. The website, the same thing. I mean, my thing about the website is I don't think we've ever gotten a team to come to us or anything else. But I agree that if there's a way to spruce it up, I always looked at the website as a management tool, that it was there to get the games, get the things, get the scores right. But the advertising part of it never seemed to be very effective. When we do it, we make statements, and we got a bunch of them on there, is who we are and what we do. But that doesn't seem to drive anybody to the league. Like, oh, I saw your website and I had to join. I think the problem that I see for us is that uh, many of the leagues that we're about are making statements about what's going to happen if you join. That may or may not be true.
You know,
It's all
that's,
Paul, it's only perception. That's
We would
perception.
not be doing that, and we need to get a little bit, if we wanna, let's say, stay competitive over the years, we get to get flashy. We
Yes.
absolutely agree with Mike that we have to get flashy. We have to get, and you don't need to lie
But
to anybody
yeah.
to do that. You just have to show.
But someone, in other words, that's a good general idea. I agree with it. Now, we need to get specific and say specifically what's flashy and how do we put it on the website?
Yeah, but I
That's
mean,
the
Paul,
part.
yeah, but Paul, I think that you can look at the DPL league. I mean, you can look at that league website and you can get an idea of what is moving the kid. What is moving the kid? And I think
Who's doing our website? Can we get a hold of them?
well, we can find out. We can find that out. But I
Yeah, I
mean,
mean, is someone- have they got someone
anybody
hired?
can do the website if they get an idea of what that looks
Yeah.
like.
Well, let me ask you though, Mike, is that website that they have all of Florida, just the West Coast? I mean, where does that,
That's for the whole country.
okay, so they're drawn in from 20 leagues they manage, Mike?
Yeah,
Well, they got one league, but they got different.
Well, I'm saying they're in Jersey, they're in Virginia, right?
No, that's
They're-
EDP. This is different league. This is DPL. This is the girls' league.
Okay, okay. This is this is this, not FYSA, the US.
Yeah,
Development-
right?
no.
Development Player League, and they are under the umbrella of U.
Yeah. How about the EDP?
Well, I mean, their website is pretty good as well.
yeah, just copy what they got on there. None of that's true.
But anyway, but if we can get somebody, someone to look at that, and if need be, we can get a couple of people that wants to make an office to handle the website and manage the website.
But yeah, but we got to remember the other part of managing the website for us would be the grinding work weekly of rescheduling and all that stuff.
Yeah, but I think that's
we're
separate.
going
I
to
think there's
separate
two-
that.
I think there's two separate parts. There's the
Okay,
management
okay, good.
behind the back side, and then there's the front side.
And Paul, to be honest, we were talking at the beginning about our healthy financial situation. Perhaps we can destine some of those funds to have somebody that helps us with that.
Yes, I'm 100% in favor of it, Juan. The point is, we don't want to dissipate them all, because if it doesn't work, you don't have enough to run the league. If we're short, my concern, and really, is that we drop below a modicum amount, 450 or whatever it is, so that we don't have the money to really run the league properly, because we don't have the money to. The first most essential thing that we do that nobody else does is we put a ton of money into the clerical end. Now, this year we also put in for a referee guy who was merit, and that, but that didn't end up happening. So we've just got to make sure we've got that nut there, that if we've got a couple of thin years, we can, because I think my opinion is, and I won't probably be here even then, we can outlast a lot of this, because these things are not that easy with 14 of them. Some of them have got to have problems now. If there's 14, if 5 go, 5 will probably come in. So we're never going to be without 14 leagues to play in.
The other thing, hey, Paul, the other thing you have to,
But that's opinion. No, I don't even know that's true.
the other just to look at when you start throwing money at PR and websites, what is the expected return?
Exactly.
Okay, I mean,
But we don't, Greg, we don't know. That's what we're
yeah,
going to
well,
find
that's what I'm
out.
saying. That's what I'm saying. We don't know. Do we honestly expect to get 20 more teams to sign up? No, that's not going to happen. No matter
Well,
what. you put on, no
that's
matter
what
how
I
many
mean,
lives
but
you
that's
have.
what Mike and Juan are pointing out, that if we don't do it, it's not the 20 more you'll get, you'll have 100 less.
Right. I
Possibly,
agree with that. Yep.
possibly.
That's the point, is you got to keep enough teams in the league to make fairly dense play. Otherwise, it then starts to come apart. The one advantage we have right now is we have reasonable density. Nothing like we used to have,
Yeah,
but reasonable density.
but we also did stuff in the years past where we threw money at stuff and
I
got
agree.
absolutely no return.
Nothing we did.
I mean, it was good ideas.
Panned out, yes. Well, but we tried them at least. I mean,
Yeah,
for years we've been
I
talking
agree.
about it. And this
Yeah,
is the same thing. We've been talking about this, let's do it.
Guys, let me ask you this. Most of you have at your clubs also the Facebook pages. For us at the Hawks, for instance, the Facebook page has become a very, very powerful tool to keep our audience interested in the club. Absolutely interested in the club. I don't see how that at a bigger picture could not be also interesting when you highlight things, where you recognize things that people are doing, and you do it in a more dynamic way as the world is functioning right now. And I definitely think that there must be a strategy. That doesn't mean that we start draining the money that the league has, but that we do a careful plan so that we stay out there and that we are present. What I don't think that we have right now is I don't think that we are present. We are present on July 18th and we are present on July 26th on the coaches meetings, and that's it. And our website is a website that is very informative, but it's a website that looks like the website of a government institution. Text. Where we are living in a world of images, in a world that everything is done through images. I personally believe, we have spoken about this in the last year and a half, that we have to get on it, and it doesn't need to be something that destroys our finances, something that keeps us present for the community that we service.
Well, the answer to that then is to put in a board position for public relations and have that person in charge of that.
That would be a great idea, in my opinion.
Well, you
Yes.
don't have to institute a board position, just one of the board members who's here says, I will, like Kai did. That's what Kai did. He said, I will head it
Right.
up. I will do it. But Sherry, you and Sherry got to be involved, because some of this involves changing the website.
Right.
And that website is the single most important tool we have for management. You know.
Well, like I said,
Yeah,
we
but
have
the
somebody-
but Paul, this doesn't affect the management of the website.
No,
at all.
but whatever that is, Mike, is not going to be the same way the back end works. Sherry and Greg are going to have to learn how that particular website manages. In other words, here's the scheduling. It's not going to be the same as the website we got now. So there will be some learning to do on it, and making sure that format for that website can handle our management needs also. That's the only thing I'm
Sure.
saying, because that's the only thing we got that is anybody can tune in and see where they are in the league, what the schedule is, who won last week, all the information that's on
The
there.
schedule is just simply a link from Got Sport. So that part
Okay.
can be put into any website format that we use.
Oh, good. Okay. Even better. See, I don't know anything.
Yeah, that's just a link. Mhm.
And as far as funding it goes, we whoever we put in charge of that site goes out and gets some sponsorship, and you put the sponsorship on those pages, and that will pay.
Well, but here's a question. If they don't get the sponsorship, do you do it still? No.
Yeah, we have to do it.
Okay,
So
So the sponsorship is just gravy, right?
yeah, exactly.
But we're gonna put what, 25,000 to it? Is that too much? 50,000, 20,000? I mean, how much should we cut
We don't
off
have that
for it?
excess. We don't have that excess.
Yeah, what we need to do is just find a company that manages websites And I'll talk to DPL. I'll try and find out who handles it with DPL.
Yeah, because they might have it right. They might have
Yeah, and then,
somebody that does it.
and then we get a quote from someone on what it takes to do it, and then we'll meet again and we'll look at the quotes.
Well, and they'll give us, I'm assuming, Mike, also, they'll tell us every month we have this amount of thing, you know.
Yeah.
That's the part of the deal, right? A contract of some sort, correct?
Yep.
Yeah, I think it's a great, I mean, I think it needs to be done. It's just very difficult with everything else. We just haven't broken through. Kai kind of went and started it and then became the president of FYSA and left us, you know, left us in a lurch.
Mike,
All
you
right.
got anything? Mike, you got the last thing for code of conduct?
Yes. So guys, look, I don't know whether we can do anything about that, but listen, you know, we're all members and all our clubs, we all expect respect and decency and honor and all that kind of stuff from our members. And again, this is about you know, Florida Premier. They went ahead and had ECNL, so-called ECNL tryouts.
Where'd you go?
We lost you, Mike.
Mike,
Last week. Yeah.
Mike, we just
Can you hear
missed
me?
you though. You just came back in.
Okay. Again, you know, Florida Premier had tryouts for ECNL, which is only youth 13 and up, but they had it for every age group, 10s, 11s, 12s, under, you know, whatever, they simply do not care. And as a result, many clubs, TBU, ourselves, Hernando, we all lost kids to their club under this guide that they simply did not care about the rules. You know.
But that's club soccer, is it not, Mike? Are there any rules in club soccer as far as tryouts?
No, but there's FYSA rules.
Yes, yes.
Oh, but are they trying out for FYSA? No.
TBU has the same ESA rules. They simply don't care about the rules. So they weren't supposed to have tryouts for 10s, 11s, 12s because that's not ECNL, but they did.
And somebody has
so-
to call them out on it.
We tried. There's no one. Their leagues are not doing anything about it, and therefore the question is, at what point do we look at our members and hold them accountable to the code of conduct that is obviously hurting many clubs in the area? And that's not just my club. It's hurting TBU. It's hurting Dunedin. It's hurting.
Well,
all
yeah,
these
although
clubs in the area.
TBU is not much of a member of this organization either, but that's okay. It's neither here nor there.
Yes.
The one thing, Mike, is we have in our bylaws, you know, we cannot schedule people. We can bring them in or let them out for cause. We changed that about 5 or 6 years ago. So if you look at our bylaws, we certainly can pick for no reason, for just us saying, I don't like the way they operate and I don't want them in the league. There is nothing in our bylaws that says specifically why you can disinclude clubs. You can do it for cause. And that is when we were changed, and we got a lawyer in there to go through it. And he said that's absolutely how to do it. So we have the ability right now to exclude people without having to go through a big rigmarole. We just, as a board or as a organization, say we don't like the way they operate. It's not in Babazon or whatever it is.
And look, they don't, and I think that we would send a message if we said to them that they cannot put their teams, which is they just given us the crumbs of their teams anyway. That you know that their behavior and their actions is detrimental to the league, and we're going to sanction them.
Yeah.
Or put them on board.
My thinking is, Mike, where we got to look at before we produce something like that would be, they'll go to FYSA and say these guys are affiliates and they're not, you know,
Correct.
they're not whatever. I don't know. You know, FYSA, I wouldn't trust the guys at FYSA, meaning the people that
To
work there.
support you, to support
Uh,
us.
Well, I could see them trying to get rid of it. They don't like us to start with, so I mean, I could see them without a problem when we start excluding people. That may be a problem in FYSA for us. I don't know that. I'm just saying we need to protect ourselves from that
Mhm.
as a league, right?
Yep.
But there are other ways to, well, you see, look, if you put that pressure on them, all you're gonna do is make a statement, because that's not gonna affect them in the least. They
Well,
won't
no, it
even know
will.
that
No,
happened.
no, you're wrong, because the majority of their younger, a large part of their younger clubs are in they use the USA League to fill their minor teams, their third and fourth teams.
What I saw, you need to take a look at what I saw. They had a league for the little kids, like 10s and 11s. or
Yeah, but
11s and 12s.
that's their league. That's their first and second. I'm talking about their third and fourth teams. that
Well, they
use
had,
us for.
Mike, in this one, they must have had 9 teams in the league.
It was a US club.
Okay, so they got a US club outlet. There were a ton of them. I mean, there were so many, it was silly.
Yeah, well, I just want us to think about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, look,
Because
I
listen,
think-
this is going to happen. This is going to happen across the board. If there's
Right.
no statement, that's going to happen across the board.
yes. Well, the other thing among us privately, of course, we've discussed this for years, and we're, without doing what they do, Mike, it's hard for club wise. I'm talking about. It's very difficult to fight that, because the person that's aimed at, Mike, is the parents who we know have in general, no idea of what someone's telling them is truthful or not. They just are told something, and you remember even our discussion with the guy in Alabama, and he made a lot of good points, but the one was, where do the people get their information about soccer, where to go, the leagues? On the sidelines and from their head coach. And that's probably the largest influence, the other parents and that coach. That's why guys like Clearwater gave out to all of their coaches the same exact, talking.
But I mean, for me, I just want to be able to look at making a position statement to Florida Premier that we have recognized their behavior. It is not in the interest of the game and the league, and that some action may be taken or could be taken. But if I just don't want them to continue this deception that is eroding clubs in the area.
Yeah, and there is one thing I have dealt with TVU, as Mike has, or with the Clearwater Chargers, which I'm pretty sure that Kai at his time had to deal with. Sometimes Braden River. I don't know, but in general, the absolute lack of decency of that club is off the chart with everybody. Those guys, starting with their leader, they have absolutely no decency in the way they conduct business. And I agree with Mike. We just can make a statement. We are aware of what you're doing, and we condemn that. And you may not give a shit, but we are telling you, we see what you're doing. Because everything that they're driving it through money. That's it. But there is absolutely no value, in my opinion, for the game. Zero value for the game. On the contrary, an erosion of the principles so that we can continue growing the game in the state and hence in the country.
Hey, Paul, on another note, going forward, there's probably an 85% chance that Hernando Heat will not have teams next year.
Mhm.
Okay? What happened there is,
Well,
Novi,
that's all right. Let's save that for the next time, but because we're running late now, we still have some other, the last thing, Greg, to put in there is we need to consider coming up with a definite number of club pass players. We've gotten to the point now where there are so many leagues and so many tournaments and everything else that we allowed more this year. I don't see that it hurt us, but I mean, we probably need to come out with something to say how many you can use. If you can use a whole team, some of the team, half of the team. At the AGM, we need to come up with a consistent
I'm going to
number.
suggest no more than 25% of your roster.
Mhm.
Agree.
Because I had a roster for a team that I was playing this weekend. They had 14 club pass player on their roster. That's a whole new team to me.
Yeah, I had one with 12.
That's a whole new team. That is
Yeah,
not fair.
How do those teams do though? I mean, did you?
They did
Because
very
what
well.
they're doing,
They did very well.
Did they?
if
So it was
Yeah.
a stacked team, Alan, huh?
Yes, it was a whole.
if they have 3 teams in the same age group and they're not playing that weekend, to make them
Yeah.
our club pass player.
Yes,
Correct.
yes. we
But
played against-
let me explain. They can still manipulate it like that by just throwing them on that roster. That's what I don't see how that helps us any.
they can do it.
They can
Yeah.
do that without any problem. Alan, they could have gotten all those
That's
players.
a lot more work to do that.
It is, but it's not, but they can do it.
Yeah, but I think we want to say, I mean, if 25% of your roster is the number that we want to do it, is that an acceptable number? We can't worry about what ifs and what they could do and how they could do.
Well, no, but Mike, back to the other thing. If that discourages teams from playing in your league, you got to see what, and that's what I
league
think.
are they going to go to? No other league has.
No, it's just ours
ours
is so much of a pain in the ass. They just don't put a team in because they got 3 teams and they just going to manipulate it into the leagues they play in already because
but
our league is too difficult to get a roster. And
Yeah, but you gotta be-
nobody else makes the roster difficult for them. That's what I see as a problem.
Well, that's
There's nobody else making a roster, making it more work for them to play in a league but us.
If you start out the season with 2 teams and you get halfway through, you end up with 14 club pass player. What happened to your original team that was a roster that was there? I mean,
I got it, Les, but here's the point. If they couldn't put a team in to start with, you don't even have a team to play against. Because they see that they can't possibly adjust the roster. They don't have enough team for 2
Yeah, but
teams.
Paul, that's the problem. The problem is that we have clubs putting in teams that has got 3 or 4, and they're hoping to get players to fill it up, and then they're
Yes,
moving these
yes.
players around.
Yes.
So today, my under 12, under 11 girls at an FCL game, she was short of players. She couldn't write any players in. She couldn't write players in on the roster, and that's US club. So
Yeah,
there are rules.
but again, do we want, my point is only, do we want to encourage more play or less play? We are always saying we want better players to play in the league. We want better teams to play in the league. Yet we want to, in this day and age now, because there's no rules anymore. There's no rules. If a kid's insured with FYSA,
Yeah, but you can't.
Well, then but Paul, how does Les or any team prepare when they don't know who they're playing against?
Not to mention the fact FYSA players cannot play in US club and vice
sure they
versa.
can. Sure they can.
No, they can't.
Oh, of
No, they
course
cannot.
Greg,
Yeah,
Yes,
they can sign up. They can be in club, US club and FYSA simultaneously.
That's fine. I don't have a problem with that. But
Okay,
not everybody's that smart. They'll just take
No.
that pass, put it on there and say, well, he's on our club. He's a club.
Well,
pass.
it's my point is, I think you want to make it more difficult for everybody to play because you want to, why? See, I see that as a negative personally, because you just are restricting
But
You
that's above
want to
our-
get to that, you want to get to that field and place somebody. And
That's
if
above
they're
our pay
good,
grade.
even better.
Above our pay grade.
you
That's
know?
what US Club and US Soccer, that's why they're battling that crap out. That's above our pay grade.
So we try, all right, I'm good. I mean, if it eliminates teams, it eliminates teams, tough shit. I'm fine
I
with
don't-
that.
I don't think it's gonna eliminate teams,
I
but
don't
what's
think
gonna
it's gonna
happen?
eliminate teams.
No, what happens is, Paul, is let's say this guy's wanting to come in, we're battling for first or second place. He's dragging in these other guys. I mean, you're playing against the whole, it's just not even, it's not a fair playing field. Because what you're doing is I mean, let's say our team is going against a stacked 14 guest players or
Sure,
club pass.
sure. But
It's-
again,
it doesn't make our league look good by all this you look at the guy's roster 2 weeks ago, he's got 11 players. He comes to our field, he's got 25.
but
think that-
Alan,
that's-
the day of set rosters, right?
No,
Take
I
a look
get
at,
going, but
I
you
mean, we're
got,
so far beyond that right now. It's not, we're in the wilderness
No.
right now.
but you got to have some balance with
Yeah.
these.
Okay,
I
so
I
can't-
agree.
we'll come up with a number. I mean, I'm good. I'm just making a counter argument.
No,
Personally,
I
I don't
understand.
care.
I see where you're coming from, but you got to control some of these coaches because right now we've created the Wild Wild West. It's crazy.
Yeah, we're living in it, Alan.
Oh, I know.
Strap your guns on because
I know.
I don't think it's going to get better. It's going to get, my opinion is, with all of these, it's just going to keep evolving to more bullshit artists starting more leagues and more bullshit artists starting clubs and thinking they're going to make
Right.
money on it. You know, it's a business. Let me try. I'll lie to everybody and see if I get away with it.
Yeah, but
That's
but at
basically
the,
what's
but at
happening.
the same time, Paul, when we have some kind of respect for the game and respect for the teams and respect for the league, and there are
Right.
standards, then we get the right person in under those conditions.
And once we start vetting teams for certain divisions, how can we do that?
I think we're so far past the hope of that we're in another world because it's
no,
when you look
Paul.
out there now, there is nothing but dishonesty and cancer. There's nobody telling the truth to these kids about anything.
Yeah, but I think we got standards.
And the
Yes.
leagues aren't either. I'm not saying we lie, but my point is,
Yeah, but we got to have
what we
standards.
got out there right now, Mike, is your child is probably going to play in the EPL.
Yeah, but that's
in
got
a
nothing to
couple
do with us,
years.
Paulie. We still got to have standards. We still got to have standards.
You know, if that's, I just hope that's not the what do you call it? The guys that used to rent the movies, right? They said, well, we go for good movies. They'll come in and buy them. You know, who was that? They're not in business anymore. That's my fear.
Well, I think it could go either way though, Paul. If we don't have some sort of standard, we could lose clubs as well.
Sure.
I mean, I
Yeah.
think we
Well,
gotta
we-
look out for each
We
other.
will
There's
have
gotta
a
be some kind
standard
of
though,
a balance.
Kathy. We have
But I
we
think
do have a standard.
14 kids on a roster for a brand new team, that's not fair.
No,
It's
it's not.
right.
No.
And we should call out that club or call out that coach.
Yes.
Okay, so, but at the AGM, let's put a number on it.
Right.
With
Yeah.
4
So
or
I think
5,
for the
3,
I think
3,
Less
6.
than 25%.
Yeah, because right now or a number, because 25% of a hypothetical roster.
So
ain't
we can
gonna
have whatever the number is, right?
be- Yeah,
18.
we just come up with a number,
Yeah.
say no more than that.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's at the AGM. We'll set that down and that will be, instead of where we've been, which we allowed it because we knew people were really scrambling the last couple of years. And now
They've
we've,
taken advantage.
yeah, or they've gotten used to,
Yeah.
not being very precise. So we've got to do something to put a number on it. Definite. So
Yeah.
everyone knows that, hey, here's a number a kid you can have.
Yes.
Cool. All right.
So
All right. Is that everything? Everybody
I
out?
have one more thing. Back up,
Yeah, Kath.
when we were talking about the teams, there was a U12 girls. I got a text message from a Janet Blanco that said she spoke to Sherry. They tried a couple of times to reschedule a game. I believe they're under 12 boys instead of the under 12s that we were looking at earlier. I think she said the match was 17:30 and it's on the boys side, and in the
This-
chat for Got Sport, they've tried several times to schedule this game, and I guess there was a holding on December 25th. And now they're saying they're denying that there was been no communication, but she sent in all the communication, she said, with Sherry, and then it is on the Got Sport chat not back and forth, but all
Who
their many.
who originally, well, we gotta go back. Who originally requested not to play that day? And that's,
I believe the other side. Is
Okay,
Sherry
and
still
she-
on?
Yeah,
but
I'm
did she
here.
agree to it?
Okay. Her
I'm
name is Janet.
Yeah, what was the
I
the
think-
game number?
I think she said it was 17:30.
Yeah, and
It's not
1790 is this
1790?
other one.
Maybe
I think
that's
it's-
1790, because earlier
Yeah.
on this agenda, they had a U12 girls Cyclones D2, but I think that should have been the boys.
I mean, I put everything that had come to me on the agenda. And I'm trying to get to my stuff. Here, give me 1 second. I'll look
Okay.
at- I'll
What was
look
it,
at
U12
17.
girls,
Boys.
U12 boys?
That's what I think, because we don't have a U12 D2 team, girls team in our club.
What
Yeah, so
division?
the 1790 may be
No, her-
inaccurate in some
The
way.
game that she's talking about is 1790.
Okay.
And
Okay, so that's the one we had on here, Cher.
yeah,
All right, it's a boys game.
Yes.
That's
Cyclones
U12
against, Cyclones
I'll have to-
against. St. Pete
U12
Raiders.
boys. All right.
Yeah, we
St. Pete?
tabled that. We tabled that for a minute, so.
Well, because we had no idea, well, we couldn't find it. So now we're on the boys, 1790, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so St. Pete Raiders.
Cyclone is the home team.
oh, I know what this is about. This guy canceled the game because he didn't have enough players due to spring break.
Okay,
St.
and I-
Pete, St. Pete Raiders cancel.
Yeah,
yes. Did
And I
Kent
told-
Carl agree to it?
um,
Agree to a reschedule?
they did, but then they could not come up with a date that worked for both of them.
All right, so in those cases, normally we revert back to the fact that if you don't figure out a date, you have a, I mean, that's where we step in, right? And say, look, you either get a date, we'll give you a date, and if you don't make it, then you forfeited, correct?
I mean, I did. I told him it was a forfeit because
Okay,
really not having enough players due to spring break, and he was saying it like the day before the weekend game.
No, no,
Um,
forfeit.
And I told him you have to file a forfeit for him, and he refused.
Yeah,
that's
a
okay.
forfeit.
We still forfeit them and we can still find, we're not finding the team, we're finding the club.
Mhm. Yeah, so that was just her question was, I think they would rather it be a forfeit.
All right, that's what it'll be.
Yeah.
Okay,
Good.
And SPR gets the 250 fine.
Yes.
correct. And if if Ray's got a problem with something, he can hop on with us. We'll listen. This communication thing, it's a constant with us, is that we agreed to reschedule, and now I can't get a hold of the other team, or I can't get a date both of us can agree on. And I think in that case, we got a problem. So we say, Sherry, we will give you a date. And if you can't make the date, it's a forfeit. Since neither one of you can come up with one, in a manner that's makes some sense. So we'll give you one. And I think that's been what we've done that I know of for years, right?
Yeah, there it is, right?
It's all we got. It's all we can do. We can't keep going back and forth forever and hope that they can do that. And hope that they can come up with a date, and no one wants to play on the other guy's date. So.
Well, that gives Cape Coral the championship then.
But they're under 12, so,
Well, I'm just saying.
yeah, okay.
Yeah, well, it's okay. I mean, it's a forfeit.
Yeah.
Whatever ramifications it has, that's not up to us. That's the league, right?
I'll let-
That's the way we've set it up.
I'll give Tony a call and Tony's got to sit on that coach of his.
And then I'm sorry, did you guys talk about 862?
Yeah. Draw,
And what
no
was-
fine. Draw, no fine.
Draw, no fine. So what?
Correct.
Oh,
Correct.
God,
Correct.
there's a lot going on here.
All right. Yeah, draw,
Uh,
no fine. Both of them, that's a draw, they're fine with it. And Les, I believe, said that it said that the Winter Haven was paying a ref. I think.
Okay. Okay, so just put in 0-0 or what?
Yeah.
Okay,
Or 1-1, I don't know what we make it.
0-0.
All right.
okay. And then did you talk about the one that was canceled and then they had a field closure?
Yes.
Okay. I'm sorry, I missed a couple of minutes of this. I'll get with Greg and just find out what you decided.
Well, what that was Les was saying that, and we still need to pay the refs. Yes.
Right.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Since we agreed to pay them before it was a washout, so we agreed that, yes, pay the refs. That's
Okay.
the right thing to do.
Okay, thank you.
All right, guys, somebody please end this thing for us.
Motion
Now,
to
remember, we got to set up, we need to stay on. I will try and stay in touch, and I will try and draft an email also and get it out to you in the next couple of weeks that it will be from all of us, basically, out to everybody that we can get an email to. At least pitching what we think is the reasons why this league's important and why we, why if it's not here, you're gonna have problems. Some of these guys, some of our guys will not get scheduled in a league because it just doesn't make sense for the league to do it. Believe me. So,
Hey, guys, good night.
all right.
Good night, all.
Aye.
Please, motion to end the meeting, please. I'll make a motion.
Make a motion.
Okay, thanks, Coco. Second, please.
Second.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Now, listen, we're still gonna, Greg, we're still gonna drill into the 17 girls thing because we're still trying to figure that out. That's open right now. And we
Right.
will follow up on that as far as why there weren't a normal number of games and what we'll do if there's not. Okay.
Don't forget tomorrow night.
Oh, right. Okay, sure. Cool.
All right.
Night, everybody.
Talk to you guys later.
All
All
right.
right.
Thanks, folks. Thanks for coming. Oh, God damn. Oh. Motherfucker. Oh.
Oh, come on.